Last week saw Max finally snap after facing constant criticism over his relationship with Cindy Beale, Michelle Collins, from residents around the square. In dramatic scenes, Max grabbed the microphone in front of stunned party guests and publicly declared his love for Cindy before dropping to one knee and asking her to marry him. The proposal leaves everyone speechless. While Max anxiously waited for Cindy's answer, Ross Marshall, Alex Walkinshaw, and Vicky Fowler, Alice Haig, were furious that he has completely upstaged their big day. Meanwhile, Cindy herself is left stunned by the sudden proposal, with spoilers revealing Max is left red-faced as the awkward silence drags on. Trying to save face, Max rushed after Cindy when she walked away from the chaos. However, their private conversation quickly became tense when Cindy realized Max had acted completely on impulse, rather than genuinely thinking things through. Later, Elaine Peacock, Harriet Thorpe, attempted to comfort Cindy, but the reality of being alone soon began to hit her. At the same time, Max opened up to Linda Carter, Kelly Bright, about the failed proposal, and the pair shared a heart-to-heart before he offered to walk her home. Meanwhile, Priya, struggling with Ravi's absence, desperately sought attention from those around her. After being rejected by Zach, Priya headed straight for Max at the car lot and demanded a drink at his flat. With Max convinced his relationship with Cindy was over for good, he let his guard down, and it wasn't long before Priya successfully seduced him. Later, as Max believed things couldn't get any messier, Cindy unexpectedly arrived back at the flat, and in a shocking turn the pair quickly reconciled and Cindy finally accepted Max's marriage proposal, completely unaware of what has just happened between him and Priya. Next week, Peter Beale, Thomas Law, warns Max about the potential consequences for everyone involved, leaving him visibly shaken. Already weighed down by guilt, Max makes matters even worse when he wrongly accuses Priya Nandrahart, Sophie Conlevy, of trying to get his attention. The pair later agreed to move past their one-night stand. However, it's obvious Max remains deeply uneasy about the situation, and with secrets never staying hidden for long in Walford, fans are already predicting disaster. Fans are already convinced the situation could explode if Cindy discovers the truth, and with Max now trapped between his future with Cindy and his growing guilt over Priya, viewers can expect huge fallout in the weeks ahead. In the heart of Albert Square, where secrets rarely stay buried for long, the pressure building around Max Branning felt less like tension and more like a slow suffocation. Max had faced chaos before, lies, betrayals, family fractures, but this time was different. This time it wasn't just the square circling him. It was Priya. And Priya wasn't the type to forget. Across Walford, whispers were already spreading. Something had gone wrong, badly wrong, and Max could feel it closing in from every direction. Every glance in the cafe, every pause in conversation at the Vic, every suspicious stare from behind the bar felt like a warning shot. Max Branning, a long-troubled figure in Max Branning EastEnders, stood outside the Minute Mart with his hands shoved deep into his pockets, jaw clenched tight. His phone vibrated again. Unknown number. He didn't need to answer it to know who it was. Priya. The pressure had started small. Just a warning, a reminder of what she knew. But now it had escalated into something far more dangerous. Something personal. And Priya had no intention of letting him breathe easy again. Inside her flat, Priya paced like a caged animal. She replayed everything in her head. The deal, the lie, the moment she realized Max thought he could walk away clean. Her eyes flicked to the window every few seconds, half expecting him to appear like a guilty conscience made flesh. She wasn't wrong to be afraid of what she might do next, because Priya had nothing left to lose. Priya, EastEnders, had once believed Max when he said he could fix everything, that he could smooth over the cracks, pay off the right people, and make the problem disappear like so many others before it. But Max's version of fixing had always come at someone else's expense, and Priya had finally become collateral. Now she wanted answers, and maybe revenge. Sharon noticed something was off the moment Max walked in. He didn't order a drink, didn't even pretend to care about small talk. He just stood there for a second too long, scanning the room like a man waiting for a verdict. "You all right, Max?" she asked cautiously. "Fine," he muttered too quickly. Sharon raised an eyebrow but didn't push. In Walford, fine usually meant anything but. Max sat in the corner, isolated despite the noise around him. His mind wasn't on the chatter or the clinking glasses. It was on Priya's last message. You think this ends when you say it does? It doesn't end. It escalates. He rubbed his temple. That was the problem. Priya wasn't bluffing. And worse, she had proof. At the heart of it all, the situation had spiraled from one reckless decision. A favor that turned into leverage. A lie that turned into a chain. Max had always believed he could stay ahead of consequences if he moved fast enough. But Priya had slowed him down. Now she was the consequence. Across town, she finally stopped pacing and picked up her phone. Her thumb hovered over Max's contact. One press and everything would ignite. But even Priya hesitated. Not out of mercy but calculation. Destroying Max wouldn't be clean. It would be messy, loud, and dangerous for her too. Still, she was running out of patience. She typed, "Meet me. Tonight. Or everyone sees everything." No threats after that. No explanations. None needed. She hit send. The message landed like a hammer. Max saw it instantly. For a moment he didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just stared at the screen like it might offer a different outcome if he looked long enough. But it didn't. He stood up abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. A few heads turned, but he ignored them. He was already calculating routes, excuses, exits. Classic Max. Always thinking 3 moves ahead, even when the board was burning. But this wasn't a game anymore. It was survival. Night fell over EastEnders like a heavy curtain. The square felt different after dark. Quieter, sharper, like it was holding its breath. Max arrived at the meeting point. An abandoned stretch near the edge of Walford, where old bricks and broken fences carried the weight of too many secrets. Priya was already there. Of course she was. She didn't turn around when he approached. "You're late," she said flatly. "I came," Max replied. "That's what matters." Priya finally faced him. Her expression was calm, but it wasn't peace. It was control. "You really think you can just walk away from this?" she asked. Max sighed. "What do you want, Priya?" "Money. I can sort it." A bitter laugh escaped her. "You always think it's about money." "It usually is." That earned him a sharp look. "No," she said quietly. "This is about consequences. Something you never seem to face." Silence stretched between them. Max shifted his weight. "If you go through with this, you go down too." "I know," Priya replied instantly. That stopped him. Because there it was, the difference between them. Max always gambled on escape. Priya had already accepted impact. She stepped closer. "I gave you a chance," she said. "I gave you time. You used it to lie, to cover tracks, to make yourself comfortable while I dealt with the fallout." Max's voice hardened. "You're not innocent in this." "No," she agreed. "But I'm done pretending I am." A beat. Then she pulled out her phone. Max's stomach dropped. "You don't want to do that," he said quickly. "I already do." His mind raced. He tried one last angle, logic, manipulation, charm, anything. "Priya, listen to me. If you send that, you don't just ruin me, you ruin everything around us. People who had nothing to do with this." Her thumb hovered over the screen. For the first time there was hesitation. Not doubt. Just wait. Max saw it and pushed harder. "That's not justice. That's chaos." Priya looked at him for a long moment. Then she said softly, "Maybe chaos is the only thing you understand." And she pressed send. The message went out. Max didn't move. Didn't speak. Didn't even react at first, like his body hadn't caught up to the moment his life changed direction. Then slowly he exhaled. Not relief. Not anger. Something worse. Acceptance. Priya lowered her phone. "It's done." In the distance, sirens didn't yet wail, but the silence felt like they were already coming. Max looked at her, almost impressed despite himself. "You really did it," he said quietly. Priya nodded. "You taught me how." For a second, neither of them spoke. The air between them wasn't hostile anymore. It was final. And in Walford, final moments never stayed quiet for long. Max turned away first, disappearing into the shadows of EastEnders as the consequences he had spent his life avoiding finally began to catch up. Priya didn't stop him. She just stood there watching the fallout begin. And knowing Walford, it surely won't stay secret for long. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to EastEnders Spoilers Official.